I'm Chun Wee. I'm the Regional Policy and Insights Lead for ACCA, and I cover Asia Pacific. So I've been in this role for 12 years now, and MIA Conference has always been one of my favorite gathering of professional accountants in the region, and I especially enjoy speaking to the warm Malaysian crowd. I think everyone is just so passionate and so engaged, right, in all the conversation that we throw at them. So knowing that this year we are going back to a hybrid, with in-person possibility, I can't wait to be back. And it just has been a fantastic experience so far. So yeah, there's no question about coming back to attending this. Well, I've always been very passionate about the topic of talent. I think this profession is built on people, right? Without people, this profession is nothing. And one of the most often cited slogan of any organization, especially a professional services firm, is that people are our biggest asset. And I often wonder, what do these biggest assets think, right? Do they feel value like a biggest asset? And it doesn't help that from a, financial reporting perspective, people are often taken as an expense, right? The training of people is taken as an expense. And therefore, that mentality of organization, is sometimes challenged, right? So this, as I said, is a big topic for me. ACCA has been big on this talent issue. And just earlier this year, we released a landmark report called Global Talent Trend. And in this report, we attracted 8,500 responses from around the world. And working with MIA, we attracted more than 500 from Malaysia alone. And that's a very rich source of data for us to cut and slice and really try to understand what people's biggest concerns are, what's keeping them in the job, what's pushing them away. And I thought that we had such rich data, we definitely want to have a great platform to share it, and MIA Conference is obviously one such great platform. And I had a fantastic panel with me on stage. And we had someone from practice, someone who is an intergenerational dynamic expert, someone who's a recruiter. So it was a really great, diverse expert panel. And they just took all the questions that the audience threw at them and just crunch it up and gave their fantastic insights on those. And there are so many insights, I'm not sure whether I'll be doing it justice, but I'll just try to mention maybe a few things. One of the key interesting results from the survey was that a majority of the survey participants, 58% in Malaysia, told us that they are still fully office-based. So this is post-pandemic, right? During pandemic, I think all of us went through this big remote working experiment, right? And you would expect that post-pandemic, the legacy of that is that a big chunk of the working population will move on to at least a hybrid working model. So we were really surprised, and that was the big surprise from the survey, that still, you have this huge group that are still working fully from the office. And we had a nice chat with my panelists. They unpacked the situation and they delve into it a little bit more. I think there's so many different things that we can talk about. First of all, I think people are just maybe not trusting a remote working environment, right? So there was this finding that say, the respondents are confident that they are productive at work, but the bosses didn't seem to feel that way. And I think there's this little bit of mistrust, and that's the little bit of not being able to see productivity in this current light. So people are still thinking of productivity as heads bopping up in the cubicle, right? But actually it is about the outcome, is about the product. And I think, we just need to get all the leaders to think differently, to understand things differently, and to trust people, right? Trust, of course, we say it has to be earned, okay, but at the same time, I think it's a give and take situation. So, we need to come to that middle, and eventually get there. So that was one big thing that came out, and I hope the audience took that away and think about what it means to them. One of the other big survey finding was that our people are suffering a lot of mental stress, and part of it is coming from, inflation just depressing their real wage, right? And I gave an example on stage of someone I knew, so a young professional just starting out, and she wants to be financially independent, right? And she doesn't spend extravagantly. But the thing is, after taking out all the expenses, all the necessary expenses, there isn't a lot left for her to build for that future. So the path to financial independence is such a long way away. And she gets really depressed about that. And I think that's not just a story of that one individual, it is the story of many, many people. And the World Economic Forum issued this global risk perception report that ranks the cost of living as the top global risk as well. So it is a very pervasive challenge for not just profession, but for everyone. And in the panel, I think we were just getting insights from our panelists and also really urging our audience, the employers in the audience, to do the right thing. Number one, are you paying your staff the right amount, right? And also, how do you keep them engaged? So it's a multi-pronged strategy that you need to undertake in order to get to the right answer. Right? It's not easy, but I think you really need to get there, because when your staff are disengaged, you're not going to come up with good outcome, right? And as I said, people is what built the profession. So you need to get that bit right.